Everyone at the shelter seemed to have the same opinion about Jackson. He was difficult, he was aggressive. Some people even thought he might have to be sent back out onto the streets. But then, something happened that completely changed the way his new family saw him. A man picked Jackson up, and within seconds, this supposedly difficult cat curled up peacefully in his lap. It was almost as if Jackson had been waiting for him. Jackson had been rescued from the streets and brought to a shelter, but things weren't going well for him there. People struggled to handle him, and the shelter staff didn't seem to know what to do with him. Around that same time, a woman was still grieving the loss of her cat of 17 years. She wasn't sure if she was ready to welcome another cat into her life. Still, she decided to visit the shelter. And that's where she met Jackson. When she first held Jackson, he didn't seem particularly interested, so she let him go. Then her husband picked him up, and almost immediately, Jackson relaxed. Within about 10 seconds, he was curled up in his lap as though he'd known him forever. That moment was almost impossible to ignore. The family had come to meet a cat who supposedly didn't like people. Instead, Jackson appeared to have made his choice. Once Jackson came home, the family saw a completely different side of him. He wasn't mean. He wasn't aggressive. He was a cuddle bug. He loved being picked up, and instead of fighting to get away, he would simply settle in and enjoy the attention. And perhaps the funniest part was that the husband, who wasn't even sure he wanted another cat, seemed to have become Jackson's favorite person. Sometimes, cats don't exactly wait for us to make the decision. They make it for us. Before long, Jackson and his favorite human had their own little morning routine. When his husband got up, Jackson would follow him into the bathroom and weave around his feet. It became their little ritual. Nothing dramatic, nothing complicated, just a cat who wanted to be close to his person. Jackson also had a broken tail when he arrived at the shelter. The family was told it didn't appear to cause him pain or discomfort, and the veterinarian didn't expect it to create problems for him. And somehow, that little broken tail only made Jackson seem even more special. For the first few weeks, Jackson barely made a sound. He didn't meow, and his family wondered if something might be wrong. Then, one day, he finally started talking. As he became more comfortable, another side of Jackson began to appear too. He started showing more curiosity, more energy, more playful behavior. His family joked that he was entering his little teenager phase. And honestly, watching a once frightened shelter cat become more confident must have been pretty wonderful. There was just one thing Jackson refused to change. At night, he was comfortable enough to be himself. Looking back, it's hard to imagine anyone calling Jackson mean. The cat who had struggled in the shelter turned out to be affectionate, gentle, curious, and completely devoted to his favorite person. Maybe Jackson didn't need to become a different cat. Maybe he simply needed someone who understood him. And sometimes, that's all a rescue animal needs. One safe place, one patient person, one chance to finally relax and be themselves. Jackson found that chance. And in the process, he found a family who discovered that the cat they weren't sure about was exactly the cat they needed. Have you ever had a pet who seemed to choose you? Share that memory in the comments. And if you enjoy heartwarming animal stories, subscribe to Tales to Me for more.